Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Beautiful You. I'm your host, Avantika. I know I'm a little late to wish you this, but a happy New Year's. I hope you had an amazing New Year's Eve and even a better start to the new year. I hope you're doing well, and I can just feel it that 2023 is going to be an amazing year. 2022 was freaking amazing. I had a blast. There were so many ups and downs, and I learned so much. There was immense growth in 2022, and I know 2023 is going to be just as good, if not better. I'm so freaking excited to see what this new year has in the store for me, for you and I, for like all of us, not just together but also individually. So yeah, I'm really excited for this year. Today's episode is going to be a guest episode. So this year, No Name Calling Week is observed during 16th to 20th January. And this week is celebrated, organized to educate students, teachers, and the public on the harms of name calling. It aims to spread awareness about bullying and aims to eradicate bullying and name calling in schools, universities, colleges, society in general. So bullying and name calling is something most of us have went through at certain part of our childhood or adolescence, and it negatively affects us not just at that age, but it has some really long lasting effects which are really detrimental not just to your physical health but also to your mental health. What exactly is bullying? Bullying is an ongoing and deliberate misuse of power in relationships through repeated verbal, physical, and or social behavior that intends to cause physical, social, or psychological harm. To celebrate No Name Calling Week, we have a beautiful guest with us who has been advocating for anti-bullying for a while now. She's a student and she has been through bullying herself, and the way she has been able to overcome it and then to advocate for it has been a really inspiring journey. Before we dive into it, I just would like to point out some types of bullying. There is physical, verbal, social, cyber that are pretty common. But social bullying is a little difficult to identify. It causes harm to someone's social reputation. It can include spreading rumors, lying, mocking someone, or excluding someone from groups and encouraging others to do the same. It can have bullying and name calling in general can have a severe impact on the victim's social and emotional well-being. Individuals struggle with low self-esteem, maintaining healthy relationships, self-image, identity, and so much more. Research shows that there is a very strong link between a victim of bullying and developing mental health concerns, which include suicidal ideation. It creates a culture of fear and has a negative effect on everyone involved, right from the ones who are being bullied to the bullies and to even the bystanders. So without further ado, we're gonna start the episode with our beautiful guest. Thank you so much for listening.
So to celebrate No Name Calling Week, we have an incredible guest among us, Disha Taneja. She's a student, socialist, mental health advocate, founder of Diva's Planet, mindspeaker alumni at Fortis Mental Hospital. She went through bullying in her early high school years. Along with other mindspeakers, she ran a campaign called #BullyingParViram and created awareness regarding bullying via social media. She was invited as a speaker to her school and 91.9 FM to have a word on bullying. She has been featured by Scene India and Fortis Mental Hospital. Welcome, Disha. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Hi, Avantika. Thank you so much for having me over here. And I'm feeling incredibly fine after seeing you.
I am so glad to have you on board. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and I'm so glad that we are finally getting to it and finally got the chance to, work something out together.
Yes, same here. I think coming on a podcast has always been into my bucket list. So it's a bucket list, taking off the bucket list moment.
That's amazing. That's a great way to start your 2023.
Yes, indeed.
So how long have you been advocating for anti-bullying?
I think I never thought that I'll do it so early. It was always in my mind. But when I got into the program with Fortis, wherein I became a mind speaker, they introduced us to the summer project, and they told us that you get to do one out of the 3 summer projects. And in my heart, I was always hoping that I get into bullying, and I was the first candidate to get selected for bullying itself. So I felt like it was something that was meant for me. It was the damn time when I was supposed to get in here. So all through this journey of bullying per Viram, there was this one thing that they introduced to share your own stories. And that was when I actually broke the shell, because out of all the mind speakers, only two of them selected to share their story. And so it was a moment wherein I thought that I think I should really leave this insecurity. And I think that was the moment when I turned my pains into powers. And it was the most amazing point of my life. It was a turning point wherein you feel so much stronger. And once you let your fear go, it's no longer here because you have already let it go. And then I started advocating for bullying per Viram. Once I shared the story, I think a lot of people were there to resonate with me, starting from my peers, my classmates, and the people I didn't even know, the people that never really, I didn't think I inspired them, but they reached out to me, my juniors. And one thing that my mentor always told me was that you tend to inspire the people that do not even show that they see you. And it really did happen, because after a period of time, when you receive texts from people that you do not even know, and they tell you that thank you for inspiring me and thank you for sharing this, you feel just so happy and everything that you do makes sense. When the program ended, I thanked Dr. Sameer for introducing this program, and I was like, if this was not here, I would have never been able to do it. But he also changed my perspective to this thing that this program was just a catalyst. You always had this into you, and you were always up to create awareness for bullying. It might have been the right moment, and the moment was waiting for you. If not today, it might be tomorrow, but you had this thing, and that completely changed my perspective. And I think advocating for bullying has not only helped me in inspiring people, but it has also healed me in numerous ways, because once you break your fear, as I said, there's actually nothing stopping you. Become the unstoppable force. And getting onto 90.9 FM, going to the same school where I was bullied into, and being a speaker over there, then featured by Scene TV, I think all of these things came gradually but at the right moment.
That is amazing. That is so beautiful. It sounds like, you are empowering not only yourself, but so many others out there. That this is why talking about the things that you have been through and advocating for issues that aren't really much talked about, it creates a ripple effect. It's like it's one person talking about sharing their journey or sharing their story with someone. It resonates with so many other people out there, and it takes immense courage to do that. So that is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for advocating. Thank you so much for speaking up. It really means a lot. So
Thank you so much.
So, could you tell us a little bit about your journey, about what happened in high school, and how you came out of it?
I think I was always a chubby kid since the beginning. I think second, third grade when I was chubby, and I was not always like bullied a lot, but I was always like mocked up, or name calling, or just saying certain words that really degrades your self-esteem. It just makes you feel bad about that. Why am I not like other people? Why am I a bit different? And the urge to change yourself in order to fit in. And that was a thing until I think when I was in my 9th grade or 10th grade. I think after that point of time, I was a lot like people say that when you hear something a lot of times, you just get so used to it that after a point of time, it doesn't even matter to you. So that was that stage for me. But what really helped me was when you have a perception of yourself that you are the best no matter what. And I started off with YouTube too. So that was like in my 11th grade. So everybody was, I felt like that this is something big I am doing, and I might be made fun of like before that you already see bullying, and then you start off with YouTube, which is again a major thing. So you have your fears, but I think I've always been a rebel. If I see that I want to do something, I will always do that, no matter what anybody says. Anybody, I don't care. And this attitude took years to build. And I remember being into the times when you sit into a bus with your friends and people spot a cow and say like, it looks similar to you, and it is just so bad because you can't say these things to me in front of so many people, and even to me as well in personal, because it is not great, it is not cool, it is not empowering, and it just is so negative. But I think when while going through this process of loving yourself, loving every bit of you, not just the parts that you have been loving for a while, but the parts that you didn't love, but the process made you fall in love with them as well. So it's all about the process, and it takes time. But after a point in your life, you just realize that you cannot satisfy anybody. So at this point, you are here to satisfy you. And if it turns out to be selfish at times, I think I would choose that, to be selfish, because I think there's nothing wrong in being selfish at times. You can't be altruistic every time, even though I am altruistic, but I am selfish too. I won't deny it.
Yeah.
If at times I have to take a stand for myself, I would not think twice.
Fair enough. I don't really think it's being selfish when you're standing up for yourself. I feel like the society has often, misconstrued selfishness to standing up for yourself, or forming boundaries. But I'm really glad to see that you're able to stand up for yourself, to form healthy boundaries with people around yourself. So you mentioned that you started getting out of the bullying zone, like, putting yourself out there and standing up for yourself by the end of 10th grade, if I'm not wrong, right? So that's like, you're like 15, 16?
End of 9th or starting of 10th. Yes, end of 9th, starting of 10th, somewhere in between that.
Okay. And like the bullying happened when you were at around like what age?
I was in 3rd grade, I believe. So what age is third grade? I think it's too young. Now I feel like I was just too young.
That is too young. Yeah.
And I remember this incident in my 3rd grade wherein a teacher only told me that in front of the whole class that you are fat. And that was the most...
That's horrible.
Yes, that was so horrible, and I think I cried also that day. I just didn't really feel good. No, now how can you imagine the mental health of a 3rd grade child if a teacher in front of the class says something like this to you? So
That's horrible. Yeah. It's like you're not even at the age where you're able to articulate how exactly you feel either. And people just fail to notice how big of an impact that takes you on the long term.
And at that moment, I don't think so I was even fat. I was just slightly a bit chubby. It's just like a plum. I was not even fat at that point.
Fair. So yeah, it's like, also, this brings up an interesting conversation this brings up an interesting question in my head, where it's like people often construe being fat as an insult, and I always felt like that's not the case. It's like if you're just fat, if you're overweight, if you're on the heavier side, that is just one of the attributes of you. It doesn't have to define you, or it doesn't have to make your personality or your life revolve around itself, That is
yes, I completely agree with that. And being fat is like often synonymous with being bad. Why is fat and bad are so related in these terms when you construct a body image? Like I also heard this thing of Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift is one of my favorite artists, but yes, but when the thing came out of that, when she stood up on that weighing machine and it became fat, so she was shouting, I think at that moment it was more like that being fat is related to being bad, that this image might not be very much accepted by the people or by even her own self. It's okay if she's having individual choices and everything, but I think as a person with such a great amount of followers and listeners, she's also portraying that fat is being related with something bad. That why is she shouting if it's fat?
Oh,
So
are you
I
talking
didn't
about the
really
documentary?
no, I didn't really saw the documentary, but about the anti-hero thing in the clip when she stood on the weighing machine.
Oh, okay. Now I'm confused. How did I miss that? I have to go after this call. I have to go back and watch the music video. I didn't notice it. I missed it. Damn. Okay.
I missed it too, but I was questioned this on my Scene TV interview, and I said no, I missed it. And then I watched it back, and then I shared it on my Instagram that I think Taylor Swift is really nice, and Anti-Hero is definitely one of my favorite tracks. It is even on my top
Yeah.
playlist on my Spotify thing. But that clip is just super controversial, I believe.
Yeah, because she has been someone who advocates for mental health and anti-bullying, and she has been through struggle with eating disorders herself, and she has been very vocal about it as well. So that's kind of new, and that's kind of very controversial. That clip would be included in the music video. I'm gonna have to go and watch the clip.
I think that clip has been removed now, but because that was into a lot of controversy. I think there were a lot of Twitter cards and Facebook and on Instagram. It was everywhere in that time. So yes, there were a lot of protests against that. I think I definitely agree with the individual choices, but I think at that very moment in that clip, it was very much observant that it was a synonym to bad, which is kind of, I didn't appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. It's it adds on to the stigma that we have around fat people, and it adds on to fat phobia in the society for sure.
Exactly, fat phobia. This is the word I was about to say.
Yeah. So circling back to your journey in school years, at what were you able to inform a person of authority or maybe your parents perhaps about the things that you were going through in school?
I think so. I never went to the counselor when I was in school, even though we had one. But I didn't know we had a counselor until I was in 10th grade. And the first time I went to the counselor, it was for my career counseling. To have an exam so that to have that assessment so that I can choose which stream I should take in my 11th grade. And
Yeah.
that was the first time I got to know that we have a counselor in the school. So I don't think so. I reached out to people, but yes, I reached out to my parents, and I think my parents were always like, you should always keep this thing in your mind that you are the best. And it whenever I'm in a situation when I don't feel like I will be able to do it, there is an echo of my mom saying, Disha, you are the best, and that is always with me. It is never gonna leave me, and it is the best thing I've ever gotten from my mother. Even today when I was lying on my bed and I was like, I am a bit tense, she came out and she said, Disha, you are the best. And I don't know how she just motivates me with these simple sentence. This simple sentence is just enough for me.
That is beautiful. That is so sweet.
I just feel like so happy whenever she says it. I think sometimes I might just pretend that I'm sad just to hear that.
That's okay. Fair enough. That makes sense. So, back in your circling back to your journey, who were these people who were bullying you back then in school years?
I think I didn't see many of my classmates doing it because I always had this image in front of my classmates that nobody can really reach out to me just to say shit about me. But when I was into like my bus and everything, I don't know why I was a bit vulnerable. So actually people who were like 1 year younger from me or 1 year elder from me, 2 years elder from me, they used to be like a bit too mean with me. So that might be just because you are too innocent, and I was a bit too innocent and more engrossed into a group of friends that focused more on their academics. So I was never into the group that was very much focused into doing notorious stuff. So people would have taken advantage of me at that very moment, just to have fun and to do that, like having very weird and awkward things, and just name calling you, or just mocking upon you, just because they know that you are not gonna answer them back. And yes, but after a point when I think I created an image where I portrayed myself strong before I was even really strong. So yes, as they say, fake it till you make it. Now today is the point where I have actually made it to be strong when I feel I'm strong. But where back then I just portrayed it. But that really helped, because you know that you're portraying, nobody else knows it. So you can really escape the circle of all these things once you yourself think that you are capable of doing everything, and you just appear so strong when you feel confident about yourself. I remember when I was in 6th grade, I anchored the Diwali event for the whole school. So that was like, these small moments added up for me to feel a little more confident about myself. And upon reaching a stage wherein I just felt like, now you can't come and say things about me, because I am at a very nice position now. So you just have this in your head. So you create your image in your head. That's what I realize now. So once in your head you are confident to everybody. Once you feel you are vulnerable to everybody. So it's in your head.
That is a very mature way to look at it. It's always about like how your perception is your reality. And yeah, I agree with it, and I am sure a lot of people resonate with that as well, because what you believe you are is what you give out. Like, it's the energy that you give out in the universe, and that's how you get treated as well. So I can see a lot of strength, and like just knowing some parts of your journey, I can see that there was a lot of growth that happened, and I can see like a really strong person throughout it all.
Thank you so much. And the way you perceive yourself is exactly how the world perceives you.
Yeah.
So at a point you feel like you are here to conquer, you feel you are a queen, and I really felt this. There are, like, still now I just call myself queen. I just call it. And you won't believe, on my birthday a lot of people didn't write Disha, they write happy birthday queen. And that was the moment that, oh my god, this was something. This is how the magic happens.
You're manifesting that energy out there, that is amazing.
Yes. So that's so cool, because you called yourself queen, you wrote it again and again, you wrote it on your bio, you wrote it everywhere. You wrote it on your hand, and it just it gives you that vibes that, okay, she is that, so people automatically attract that vibe.
Yeah, that is so true. That is genuinely really, really, really true, and I really agree with it. So yeah, that is amazing. So how did you initially deal with the bullying back then? Like, how were you coping with it? Like, back then when you were much younger, when you were in 3rd and 4th grade, 5th grade, how were you dealing with it then?
At that very moment, as I said, I was a bit too innocent and vulnerable, and that was the most peak time of when I faced bullying, because I think these were the only grades when I really faced bullying and things. Because post this period, I was very active. I was a cabinet member at school. I was into school council. I was into anchoring events and hosting, everything. But these 3rd, 4th, 5th grades, as I say, I think these were the moments when I was very scared of everyone and everything. But I think I don't really remember how I did it, but I think it was a gradual process where you learn how to just either ignore people or you face them. So fight or flight.
Yeah, okay. And at what point did you finally tell your parents about it?
It was never that I never told them. I was always being super friendly with my parents. I think if today also anybody would say me anything, my mom would be the first person to know that. And that's the bond I share with her. And I think I'm so grateful for that bond, because if I can share anything with her comfortably, she just calms me down and tells me her favorite line and mine too, that I'm the best. And then she just, today also she was telling me that you'll be going to college soon, so if somebody tells you something, just ignore them, just remember what I always tell you, or if you feel anything bad, just call me. I think she is the person who will be available for me anytime. I remember once I called her at 2 a.m. in the night, and I didn't think twice before calling her, and she didn't think twice before answering my call at 2 a.m. So I think she's always there for me to just rant and say anything I want to. So I think your parents supporting you is the most essential thing you need.
Yeah, I agree. If you are comfortable sharing, what was the worst incident that you went through?
I really don't remember worst incidents, but I think small incidents when as I said, I am an international book of records holder for participating in the largest twist dance. But there was this point when, after being an international book of records holder, I used to just feel a bit ashamed in dancing, because I was being bullied for how my body looked. So I was like, if I would dance, maybe it's not a nice thing, maybe it's for the girls that are really active or fit or something. I won't look nice dancing or something. I used to not take parts in the dance activities that used to happen in the school, even though I had some interest in it and I still liked dancing. But I remember there was a time when I was in a gym and the instructor told us that now you have to dance because today is the dance day. So at initially I was, again, the fears just surround you and you can't do things. But I'm glad that the gyms have mirrors. So once you look at the mirror and you see yourself dancing and you just feel like, wow, I'm dancing so well, why did I refrain from it? And that was the time I was unstoppable. I still remember it. I remember that I kept on dancing. I didn't care about the world. I was just into the song. I was with the beats. And I realized in that moment I dance really well. I don't have to care about what anybody says. I think I justify what I have received. So I just felt so nice. I was just refraining it all my life just because I thought I didn't dance well, but I do. And now if anybody is up for a dance party, yeah, I'm also up for it.
Let's go. That's amazing. Have you ever gotten an apology from any one of your bullies?
I don't think so, but they wrote that, thank you for inspiring us.
They wrote that to you. How did that make you feel?
I was literally like, this is weird. I don't know how to respond to this.
Right, makes sense. Like, did any one of your bully ever reach out and tell you that, oh, they, what they were going through at that time or at any?
So one of my bully, I was into the school. I was doing the speaker wala event, and I was into the school. And when I was sharing my story, first I was supposed to tell my academic achievement because I was graduated from the same school just 20 days back. So I was telling my academic achievements and everything. And now I see, out of everybody in the crowd, just the person who bullied me is shouting, wow, yay. And I'm like, how is it happening? When I'm sharing my bullying story, this is the only person who is hooting, who is shouting, yes, more power to you. I'm like, I don't get this. This is just so weird. I just don't get how is it happening, how the tables are turning.
Right, yeah. It must feel nice though that you were able to grow out.
I really didn't get it. If it was sarcasm or the person was really, just supporting me, because you are sharing a bullying story. Your bully is hooting for you. So
Right.
you don't know how to react for that.
Often it's like the people who bully others are the ones who've been victims of bullying themselves. So I hope that the person was being sincere, and if the person was being sincere, I'm sure your story reached out to them as well, and like it resonated with them as well to a certain degree.
I don't know about her, but when we were done with the workshop, a
Yeah.
lot of my juniors, like the juniors that in the same bus where we used to travel and people used to be like a bit mean with me, same bus people just came out and they were like, oh, you are the same girl and you are here, how did that all happen? Because we were meeting after like 2 years, because in 11th and 12th grade you don't get the bus facility. So I saw them after 2 years. They were all like a bit grown up, and they were like, oh, we recognize you, we used to travel in the same van, and how did you get in there? Thank you, are just you were so amazing and everything. And I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know how to react, because for the first time you get people and it's just on your face. Like on the text you still have some time for your brain to process and get the things out and say thank you and everything, but it's just on your face where you know them and they just come out and they're saying so much, and you just take a moment to process everything and how to react and everything. So yes, I think I'm glad I did it, because if I would have not done it, I would have never known my powers.
More power to you. That's amazing. That's amazing to you.
Thank you so much.
So
I still don't know how to react to things. I just say thank you.
that's you start somewhere. That's a beginning,
Yes, exactly.
So moving on to that, what I'm curious to know that what are certain? I mean, clearly you've worked on yourself and you have overcome bullying. What are some certain insecurities that you still deal with, which might stem from the bullying that you went through?
I think maybe sometime if I would like look a little too chubby in a dress, I might not choose to wear that, because how matter how much you heal, there are always some parts that are left. So for you to work upon them, and that's actually great because you learn with the process. And I've started loving my body a little more. But when I started creating awareness about bullying, a lot of people associated bullying with the body positivity movement. So I know these terms are a bit related, but they aren't alike. So what happens is, when you just create awareness about bullying, people also reach out and say that it's not okay to be obese. And I completely agree with that, because it has health issues related to it, and we should work out and do physical activities. I was always into physical activities. I've been into swimming and basketball, everything. But when I say that if I was being bullied for my weight, I don't really promote a lifestyle of obese behavior or anything that you should not do exercise or something. I feel like being bullied is wrong, but if you are changing yourself for you, not for anybody, if you don't feel comfortable in being obese and you want to work on yourself just in order to stay healthy, I think it's all up on you, and you don't have to associate this with bullying at all.
It's the intention that matters behind anything that you do.
Yes. So I am advocating about people saying harsh things on other people that impacts their mental or emotional health. I'm not saying that you should stop working out or being obese or just keep on eating or just be unhealthy or be at the risk for major health disorders. I'm not saying it at all. I'm just saying that people calling other people with different names or just telling them harsh things is mean and is not cool, and it's the time we put #bullying per gram.
Yeah, those are very two separate conversations, like different topics of conversations. And I agree with you that like the whole connotation of how body positivity movement came into, uh, the connotation that it had, that oh, it's like people promoting obese lifestyles or unhealthy lifestyles. It's just very different, directions, and those are like two different topics of conversation, because it's similar to what happened with even feminism, but like that's something that we'll save for like another episode. It's really amazing. I can imagine it hasn't been easy at all, but to like grow into this amazing, beautiful person that you are now, it's just, you have been beautiful all the time, but it's like to find your strength and to find the courage to stand up for these things, it's genuinely amazing. And you're only 18 now, so that's great.
Thank you so much. And yes, sometimes I do feel like, am I too young to do this? Like, people often say you're just 18, but then I feel like maybe it's just the moment that is right for me. Maybe the age is just something, it is secondary. Maybe the moment was right for me.
Yeah, if it's right for you, if it's happening, then it's right for you. It's always about the timing. And yeah, it's like you said, if it's right for you, it's right. So you also advocate for self-love a lot. So what I'm curious about now is, how does self-love look like to you? How did self-love look like to you back then, and how does it look like to you now?
I wrote a blog on self-love quite recently. So I said that superhumans aren't really supposed to be fictional. Even we can be superhumans because we have self-love as our superpower. So this was like how I started my self-love blog, and this is something that I truly feel, because what we see in fictional superhumans is not a reality, but what we can construct in reality is these different forms of self-love, be it confidence, be it the trust that you have on yourself. These are all actually the superpowers that make you the amazing human that you are. And back then, self-love has always been with me, because as I said, that phrase from my mom is a great example of how self-love should be, right? So when you hear a comment that says that you are the best, it automatically creates an image in your head that there must be something that my mom has seen in me, and that's why she's saying it. So you start to know yourself better. You start to focus on the parts of your personality that are really great. And at first I used to have this, like, if great things happen to me, I used to put it on the luck that, oh, I must be lucky. But now I feel like I have worked hard for it, and that's a form of self-love, when you feel like you really worked hard for it, and that's why you have got it. You didn't got it for free. You didn't got it for, like, it was not something that people granted you. You earned it.
Of course.
And that's a great form of self-love, because you don't take yourself for granted. You feel that whatever you're doing, you're putting your hard work into it, so nobody has the power to tell you that you are not worthy of something. And that's an excellent form of self-love, I believe. And self-love is not limited to self-care only. It's more about when you wake up and when you see yourself in the mirror and you feel like, oh, if I wake up this, I still look good. After makeup, I look good. Simply, I look good. When you just have these affirmations with you, I think you automatically practice self-love.
That is very true. I like how there was such a massive change in perception, like how you redirected your feelings about towards self-love and everything. So I really like how there was a redirection and there was a different perspective that happened, that because the things that you were achieving, the good things that were happening, it wasn't because of luck, but because you deserved it. So the change in thought patterns, that goes such a long way out there. And I do agree with you when it comes to self-love being more than just self-care. It's not always about going to cafes and massages and face masks and doing things that make you feel good. It's also about things that scare you, facing your fears, standing up for yourself, advocating for things that you believe in, perceiving your interest in everything, taking a chance on yourself. That also is a part of self-love to a greater extent.
Exactly. And self-love is a matter of, again, perspectives. I've been talking about perspectives a lot because, I have felt how perspectives can change your life. And, if you want, you can make self-love expensive. Otherwise, it's really not. When you feel like you're loving yourself, you love it at free of cost. You just don't have to pay a single penny for that. I remember I was on a solo trip, and when I saw myself managing everything, like my luggage, how I have to wake up on time, I never wake up at time at my home. God knows how I was up at 7 a.m. in my trekking suit, and I was the first person who really went downstairs, and I was like, I'm ready. I don't know about rest of the people. And that's when you practice that, oh, you are capable of doing everything, the things that you didn't even imagine for you to do. And I remember sleeping at 2 and waking up at 7, the first person to do that. And everybody else was just sleeping and everything. But in this process, you just realize, okay. And I prepared my bag, I carried my luggage all by myself, and I slept alone. So everything.
That's great. Yeah, that is fun. That is great. It's the little things in which you show up for yourself actually contributes to a lot. So,
and also the thing when you feel like you don't need anybody for your own happiness, you can be your own great company. And that's so much about self-love. When I was quite new in Chandigarh, I didn't know anybody, and I think the biggest lesson of self-love came from in here. When you feel like now you don't know anybody, you have to start from scratch. And that's when, if you are having insecurities about yourself, you might not be able to form friends because you will be very choosy and picky in that form. But once you accept yourself the way you are, you do not really find faults in anybody. You are just such a loving person. Like, as they say, first fill your jar and give the overflowing thing to other people. So now you don't see faults in anybody. I know there are imperfections with all of us, but you don't see them. You just see beyond imperfections for everybody. And you are happy to connect with anyone. And I felt this because I really like having a conversation with people, and now at this point I feel I can connect with people, and I just don't go and say anything, even though if I could see that, oh, this might not be the perfect friend for me, but I can go and talk to them for a while. If anybody's feeling low, I can always be the person for them to come and everything.
if you were to give any advice to your younger self, what would you say?
I think as young, now I also feel like everything that happens in your life, it happens for a reason. And I think even when I was bullied or anything, I would not like to change anything from my life. I think everything that has happened for a reason, and all those reasons have connected in a way, and it has made me the person I am today. So I don't think so I would like to change anything from my life. But an advice to my younger self, I would definitely tell her that you're just super amazing. You would never know how amazing you are. And I would say this to myself too, because now also, if there are things that I'm scared of, back in my mind I know I can, but there are a lot of anxiety provoking thoughts that take you back.
Right.
They just don't let you go. And this is something I would like to say my future self, my present self, my younger self, that you are capable of doing everything you ever think. Like, your daydreams can turn into a reality if you want. They will if you want.
Your daydreams can turn into a reality. That's beautiful. What would your message be to the listeners that are listening to this episode right now?
I think firstly I would like to tell that, yes, I would like to add this thing also, that when I say I was being bullied, I would not say that I was never a bully, because I have been a bully myself at one point in my life, and I don't think so it's cool. But at the same time, am I ashamed of it? No, because I didn't have the enough information about it. I didn't have the resources. I was not told that what bullying is. I was not told that why should you avoid it. But I felt like other people are bullying me, they're making me feel low, so if I might do the same thing, I might be able to fit in. But now when I look back to it, I have already been that person that does not indulge in these things. But will I judge a bully? No, because they were at the same place as mine. They didn't have the resources, they didn't have the knowledge, and they were not told that you should not bully. But now when you have the knowledge, you should always keep things in your mind, that how badly things can affect the mental health of other individuals, how badly it can impact their emotional health. And I also read this incident of this person who did suicide quite recently, when about some LGBTQ community, and his mother is still fighting the guy from Rayan or DPS, I don't remember which school. But I think he was also bullied for just showing a behavior that was not as desirable for a male to show. So I think when people do it, they don't realize it, because we do not have the available resources or the knowledge. In schools, you see, if now the trend is changing, but back when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I didn't have any bullying workshops in my school for them to tell me that what is bullying or why you should not do it. But as the times are changing, I think if you know it, you should definitely not do it. And to anybody who is being bullied, I think I would like to give you a lot of virtual hugs, first of all. And you're just so strong. And just go out, tell your parents about these things, go to a person who is bullying you and tell them that I'm not feeling comfortable with what you are saying. Just have a conversation with them, because a lot of time we have communication gap. We just don't tell the person that it's not good that you're doing. And if we tell them, people do stop. If you go and talk to the authority about it, you go to their parents, or if they're not stopping, you go to the authorities and you talk to the counselor and everything. So that's how the protocols that you should take. And apart from this, now we have a lot of different mental services. If you're feeling very low, like telemanus is there, you can always reach out to psychologists. We have free mental health helplines now. I think we are progressing at a very great scale now. And as far as self-love is concerned, I think you all are very beautiful, worthy, amazing, and you should never doubt your own worth. Never ever.
Your perception is your reality. So whatever you believe,
your perceptions are reality.
Yeah, whatever you believe you are is how people are going to perceive you.
Exactly. Yeah, I have felt this so hard. Like I said about the queen thing or anything, when I talk to people now, they're like, I think you are a motivational speaker or something. No, I'm like, no, I was never into this thing ever. And I'm like, you do not even know how people are having notions about you until you just have a conversation with them. So just keep doing, keep hustling, keep striving, keep thriving, do just your bit, because you are here to you're not here to impress, you're just here to express what you have.
That I am sure will resonate with a lot of listeners right now who are listening to this episode, because it resonated with me. You're not here to impress, you're here to express. So how can someone reach out to you?
I'm always available. I'm a text away. Just text me on Instagram. It's Disha Taneja 3184_. Twitter, Facebook, anywhere. I'm always a text away, and I'd be happy to help. Always happy.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking your time out and sharing your journey with us. It has helped a lot, and I'm hoping to collaborate on more episodes further, because I feel like there's a lot that you have to share and it will resonate with a lot of the listeners that we have. And yeah, it like really resonates with what this podcast is all about as well. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
A sure thing. I would love to collaborate with you. And I've also heard like a lot of you have also been through mental health issue, and I saw your bipolar thing, and it just inspires me as well, because you are doing a podcast. You are out here speaking with the people who have had some things with their mental health and they have overcome it, and it's just so empowering in itself. So I think you are doing a great job, and yes, podcast with you is like so amazing. And it was just something we gradually connected, No, we connected instantly. We instantly connected, and you just called, and I got to know about your podcast, and I was totally up for it. I don't know how. I just usually do not say like, okay, I'll just collaborate with you, but I don't know how. At the moment, I said, okay, I'm so up for it.
I'm so glad we connected. That is amazing, and you're so kind for saying that. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I hope it resonated with a lot of you all. And if you are someone who is going through bullying, please reach out to someone of authority. Please reach out to your friends, your peers, your parents about it. There is someone out there who wants to help you. You're not alone. And I know that it is very difficult to go through it. And I know that it can be damaging to the mental health. But I hope that you find the right help whenever you need as soon as possible. The links to my Instagram and email will be linked down below. I will be linking all the socials of Disha as well, so you feel free to reach out to her, and we would love to know about your feedback. We would love to know what you thought about the podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I would really appreciate it if you rate my podcast. It really helps me reach out to more people as we go on. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I love you. Bye.